Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Layin the Verbal SmackDown. I am your host, Graves King, and I will be here on a regular basis interviewing the best of the best from Friday Night SmackDown, the men and the women, asking them the hard-hitting questions, the questions you want answers to, the questions you yourselves ask, and the questions everyone needs to know the answers to, along with peeking behind those closed doors and finding out the dirty little secrets of the locker room. Today, we have a very special guest. He is considered by many to be the greatest of all time. He came out of retirement. He returned at No Mercy live in San Antonio, Texas. He'll be back in the ring in Glendale, Arizona, taking on Dirty Dominic Mysterio in a 30-minute Iron Man match at Saturday night's main event. He is the Heartbreak Kid. He is the Icon. He is Mr. WrestleMania. He is Shawn Michaels. Shawn, I would like to thank you for joining us here on the debut episode of Layin the Verbal SmackDown. First off, how are you feeling today?
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here. And how am I feeling? I'll be honest with you, Graves. I'm feeling a bit sore, but I still feel good.
That's good, Shawn. That's good to hear, man. So, listen, I'm not going to waste time. You're a busy man. I'm a busy man. So let's cut right to the chase. The big question, the question everyone wanted the answer to, the question you said you would answer in Dallas, but you said that you would answer here. Why are you back? What is the story? What brought you back here after that god-awful tag team match you had the last time you stepped foot in the ring with your best friend Triple H and the Brothers of Destruction?
So, as everyone knows, I hung up the boots and rode off into the sunset after my match with The Undertaker at WrestleMania 26. After that match, I was happy in retirement. I didn't want to come back because I didn't believe I should, but eventually that thought that I could do it one more time entered my brain, and I tried to ignore it. I did, but that was when Paul called me, told me about the tag team match. I knew then, and I knew now, that I should have said no because I wasn't ready, but ultimately I did agree, and to this day I regret that decision.
Okay, well now that's the backstory, went through the history of it. You regretted the decision then, and I remember sometime after that match, you said you would not step back in the ring. What has changed between now and then for Shawn Michaels? What convinced you to come back? Was it maybe a match? Was it the announcement of the new era? Was it your wife? What convinced you that now was the time to come back for not just a match, but as you put it, one more run?
I was backstage at NXT a couple of months ago doing what I do, and Paul pulled me aside one night and told me he was thinking about starting a new era in the WWE, and he actually offered me the general manager position for SmackDown because he already planned it out with Randy Orton for Raw. I told him I would think about it and get back to him. About a month went by and I really started to think about it, and I thought about how much fun it would be being in front of the crowd on a regular basis once again. Then one day I was down at the Performance Center working with some of the new recruits, helping them with match training, and it was during that where I felt like maybe I could do this again. So I got on the phone with my beautiful wife Rebecca, and I told her about how I felt. She told me that I gave up wrestling for her before, and well, now it was her turn to give me up for wrestling, so if I want to do it, I should, and she'll support it 100%. After that, I talked to a few more family members, and they told me I should if it'll make me happy, and for a bit I was in doubt, but then I started to think about how I let everyone down before. I know it's a running thing that my tag match isn't canon, but it is, and I hate that my final match for my fans was such a letdown, and that really started to weigh down on me because my fans deserved better, and at the time I didn't have the time to train, but now I would. So after about a week of arguing with myself, I gave in and called Paul, and I told him I didn't want the general manager position, but I did want to come back for a final run. He supported it and told me he'll let Randy and the SmackDown GM know. About a week before WrestleMania, Paul called me up and told me he's got a wrestler's contract for me to sign over the weekend, then explained how this new era is going to work. The Raw and SmackDown GMs would have a certain budget for the draft, and then post-draft, whatever remaining budget they had, they could use to sign free agent talent. I would be a part of the post-draft talent to sign, but he wouldn't tell them until after the draft. WrestleMania then happened and everything started to get set up. After the first week of shows, Paul told Randy and Cody about me, and I got offers. But I ultimately went with SmackDown. I want to be the Shawn Michaels my fans remember, and I don't want to let them down again.
You know, Shawn, that makes perfect sense. And, I understand the feeling of guilt and regret when you let your fans down. I've had a lot of great matches in my career. And there are moments where I've looked back at some of my past matches and I thought I could have done better. And I feel like my fans deserve better. But this isn't about me. The question I now wanted to ask you is, why SmackDown? Why Cody Rhodes? Why Friday Night SmackDown? You were very primarily a Monday Night Raw guy. You never really worked for SmackDown. You wrestled on SmackDown. You never worked for. So why change it up? Were you just looking to be different this time, or was something about Cody, or what was it that made you want to sign with Friday Night SmackDown?
It was kind of what you said, the fact that for basically all of my career, I was a Raw guy, never really represented SmackDown, so in a way I wanted to switch things up. But it's also the fact that I watched both of their first shows closely, and with Raw having John Cena brought in, along with CM Punk coming back, and a few others like Roman Reigns, they had plenty of big names for them to work with. Whereas SmackDown kind of seemed to go in a different direction. Obviously, they have their big names like Finn Balor, AJ Styles, The Miz, Sami Zayn, and others. But they also have guys like Chad Gable, Cedric Alexander, Xavier Woods, A-Town Down Under. These guys who could burst into the main event scene at any moment, but could use a little push. Those guys I want to get in the ring with and work with and hopefully help give them that little push.
So from the sounds of it, it seems like you're not really looking to take opportunities or take card placements or even potentially title matches. Is that like where you're going for? Like, are you focused on just kind of putting over the younger talent? Or are you looking to get some victories? Are you looking to get that maybe one last world title run? Like, what is your goal? Because obviously over on Monday Night Raw, John Cena just became the 17-time world champion. And, there's a mixed reaction to it. A lot of people love it. It's a historic moment in history. But at the same time, it's like, well, why is he getting it over a guy like Gunther or someone else? What is your mindset coming in for this final run? Are you looking to put people over? Are you looking to go to Cena round, become a champion? What is your ultimate goal on SmackDown? What are you here to do? Are you going to work that part-time schedule? Because that's another thing people have been wondering for a while now.
To answer the part-time question first, no, I'm not working part-time. I am back for a full-time run. I will work SmackDowns, live events, pay-per-views, or premium live events. Whatever it is that Cody needs me to do, I'll do. I'm not just going to disappear for 6 months. I'm here for the long run. As for my goals, a world title run would be nice, but if I'm in a situation where I believe somebody else should go over, I'll take the loss. I won't just win for the hell of it or because I want a world title. And that's not a shot at John Cena. He's a great man and he's busted his ass to get where he is today. And if he's back for a full-time run, then he definitely deserves his world title run. But for me, I'll be looking at it in a way where I don't ever want to bury a talent. I want someone to come out of a match with me, win or lose, looking like $1 million. That's my goal. Make everyone look great to help set them up for their future on SmackDown. And if I can get a WWE Championship run during that, that works for me. But it's not the main goal.
I 100% respect that, but I think I speak for everyone. I say we all would love to see you with that WWE Championship around your waist one more time. But let's move on here before I let you go. Let's talk about your return match. You came out of No Mercy and said you're going to compete in a 30-minute Iron Man match. Now, obviously, that's meant to just show that you can still go, and obviously you have the confidence. You were in one of the most famous, if not the most famous, Iron Man matches of all time. But here's the question. You laid out the open challenge to anyone in the SmackDown locker room, but it's Dirty Dominic Mysterio who answered the challenge. Now, were you disappointed when you saw him come out? Or were you happy about it? Was there someone you were hoping would come out? Or you think Dominic's a formidable opponent, is going to give you a good match? And also, how do you feel about facing Dominic? He called you the has-been kid, an insult you've heard many times over the years. But how do you feel about it, Shawn?
I don't think this will surprise anyone, but Dominic wasn't my first choice for opponents, and that's no disrespect intended to him. He's a very talented kid. He's just got his head so far up his ass he can't see clearly. And that was me at one point. I was the same way. But I came out as the man you're talking to today. And when he came out at No Mercy, and like you mentioned, called me the has-been kid, it was at that moment I remembered a few months ago I went to show him some respect, and he just ignored me. And I told him that his dad should have spanked him as a kid, and I chuckled because I realized that now I get the chance to kick his ass as an adult, and I'm hoping after I do, he'll understand what it means to be respectful. Now, as for who I wanted to face, honestly, even though Dominic wasn't high on my list, I would have been fine with anyone. Like I said, my goal is to work with anyone and make them look like $1 million after the match is over. So it could have been Apollo Crews, Xavier Woods, Jey Uso. It honestly could have been anyone, and I would have been fine.
All right, well, I'm definitely excited to see you every week on Friday Night SmackDown, including your first match back against Dominic Mysterio. I'm excited to see how that goes. But ladies and gentlemen, I think that's all we got time for here tonight. So thank you for tuning in. Shawn Michaels, once again, thank you for being a wonderful guest. Shout out to our Patreon member, Powerbomb Inc., for helping us fund some stuff here on the channel. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any more episodes of SmackDown or any more of Layin the Verbal SmackDown. Our Patreon's also down in the description below. You can go subscribe, whatever, $5 a month Canadian, whatever it is for you. You get all kinds of exclusive content. Anyways, thanks for tuning in, and hope to see you next time, as soon we'll be back on SmackDown live in Dallas, Texas. Thank you, and have a good one, folks.